Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Ecuador's president has ordered that criminal gangs be neutralized after days of violence culminating in an attack on a television studio. Masked gunmen broke into public television channel TC's live studio during a broadcast, forcing staff to the floor. Police made 13 arrests following the attack, which injured 2 employees. At least 10 people have been killed since a 60-day state of emergency began in Ecuador on Monday. The UK Defence Secretary says UK and US naval forces have repelled the largest attack yet by Yemen's Houthi rebels on shipping in the Red Sea. The Iran-backed group launched at least 21 drones and missiles overnight, according to the US military. They were shot down by carrier-based jets and 4 warships. No injuries or damage were reported. The Houthis have not commented, but they have targeted vessels in the response to the war in the Gaza Strip. The boss of Boeing has admitted the plane maker was at fault after one of its aircraft suffered a door blowout shortly after takeoff in the US. No one was injured when the unused cabin door broke away from the Alaska Airlines flight from Portland, Oregon on Friday. The US has grounded 171 of the Boeing 737 MAX 9 planes since the incident. On Tuesday, Boeing's president and chief executive Dave Calhoun said the firm was acknowledging our mistake. The door plug, which fell away from the aircraft, weighed 27 kilograms and was used to fill an emergency exit that was built into the plane but not required by Alaska Airlines. A 5th and final batch of court documents relating to the sex offender Jeffrey Epstein has been released. Among the 1,400 pages of records are depositions with Epstein and his former girlfriend Ghislaine Maxwell. This last trove shows Epstein refused hundreds of times to answer questions, including about alleged blackmail of famous men. The documents have been released as part of a lawsuit brought by sex trafficking victim Virginia Giuffre. Rishi Sunak is facing a significant rebellion from Tory MPs over legislation to revive his plan to send some asylum seekers to Rwanda. Over 30 backbenchers on the right of the party are backing plans to change the bill next week to make it harder for people to appeal deportation. The amendments underline the scale of Tory division over the policy, which the Prime Minister has made a priority. Ministers insist the bill allows only a vanishingly small number of appeals. Those backing the amendments include former Tory leader Sir Ian Duncan Smith and a clutch of former cabinet ministers.
The bill does include what are known as notwithstanding clauses. These mean that our domestic courts will no longer be able to use any domestic or international law, including the Human Rights Act, to stop us removing illegal migrants.
The funeral service for prominent South African photographer and anti-apartheid activist Peter Magubane has taken place in Johannesburg. He was granted a provincial official funeral service, which is a special funeral service reserved for distinguished persons specifically designated by the President of South Africa. President Cyril Ramaphosa and the former President Thabo Mbeki were among the attendees. Magubane died last week, aged 91.
Having read the many tributes that have been penned over the past week by people who worked alongside him and who he mentored, it is clear that the description of him as a legend is clearly a fitting one. We have in our midst today men and women from various generations of journalists, of which Peter Magubane, fondly known as Bra Peter, formed part. As we salute him, his contribution and his service to the people of South Africa, I also join in that salutation.
And the actor Adan Canto, who was known for films including X-Men Days of Future Past, has died at the age of 42. The Mexican star had suffered from appendiceal cancer. Canto was the National Security Advisor and designated survivor alongside Kiefer Sutherland, who paid tribute to the actor as such a wonderful spirit. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel studios in Lagos.